is Allison. I make videos 2 times a week, so come back if you like this. Today I'm going to be talking about how to make a budget. This is really going to be just budgeting for beginners, so if you want to learn how to do my budget, stick around. Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm going to be talking about how to do a budget today. There are a lot of different budgeting methods, but I'm going to just share the way I do my own personal budget. I'm going to show you numbers, but I feel like I don't want to show my actual numbers just because I don't want people to feel bad if they make less or more money. So I'm going to be making up random numbers just to give you an idea of how to do a budget. And I don't think there's any wrong or right way to do a budget. You have to do whatever works for you. The important thing is that you're tracking your spending. That's really the priority, is that you understand where your money's coming from, where it's going, and how you're using it. Because money is important, you have to understand it, otherwise you will have a difficult time in life. So let's get started with the budget. The first thing I do when I do a budget, I actually just like to write the word budget down on a piece of paper, and I write the month and the year. I actually like to keep my budgets, I do one budget per month, and I try to keep them so I can look back and compare them. You know, I can just write budget April 2019 at the top of the paper. And the very first thing after that is you just need to figure out what your income is. So, and it can be whatever money you have coming in from a job, any side hustles. If you have a family member that just randomly gives you money, you could put that down too. Whatever money is coming in needs to be listed as your income. If you want to write your income down, I'm just writing down a random number, and that's just whatever, income's coming in. That's, put down anything that's coming into your wallet every month, and then once you've figured that out, you just need to figure out whatever your expenses are. So I usually start with the biggest expenses first. That could be your rent, your mortgage. If you have a car payment, you need to write that down. Your cell phone bill. Any food, whatever you're buying in food, you need to write that down. That's very important. A lot of people don't track that. I also wanted to add a little side note. Some people are like, well, my income is different from month to month, and I work at an hourly rate job, but my hours vary from month to month. So I always calculate my budget based on the minimum I'm going to be getting. I always know I'm going to get at least a certain amount so I always do my budget based on that minimum amount. Anything extra that I get over that minimum, I put into my savings, or I use it for any unexpected expenses that come up. But I don't count on the extra money, it's just extra money to play with if it comes in. That way I'm never hurting. So there's just a little side note. You want to write down all your expenses, and you need to write down everything. Every little tiny thing needs to be in your budget. So your rent, your car payment, cell phone, food, gas, any utilities you have, pretty much anything you can think of that you're going to buy. Things like clothing you need to calculate because you do need to spend money on clothes. Entertainment is a big part of this. You also have to have entertainment costs calculated because you're going to go out probably, or you're going to do something fun. It's going to cost you money. Even if it's just a small amount, that adds up, so you need to calculate it. You also need to figure out anything unexpected. You need to have money planned for that. So have a little bit of money set aside for any unplanned expenses, even if it's just $50 a month. You need to know that something is set aside for those sort of things. You also want to make sure you're calculating savings into your list. It's really important that you plan on having savings. Saving account is really important. You need money for emergencies. You need to have that money, so put that in. Something else a lot of people don't include in their budget is investing, which is really important. You need to be investing money so that you can have a retirement when you're old. I know it's boring, but it's important. So once you calculate all of these expenses down at the bottom of your list, you need to add up how much all of those cost. So, list how much each thing is potentially, I'm just making up numbers as I go. Write down, and then you just need to add everything up in the bottom And your expenses can never be greater than what your income is. If your expenses are greater than your income, then you are in trouble, and that means the only solution to that problem would be either to generate more income or to cut your expenses. And there are a lot of things you can do to cut your expenses. I definitely want to do more budgeting videos on this channel, so I may do some, costs, some money hacks to help save you money down in the future, to help you find ways to cut down on your expenses. There's actually food, I think, is the easiest thing to cut down on your spending, because there are so many ways to save money on food. You can always buy less clothes. Entertainment's probably the easiest thing to cut off, because you don't have to go out, but people do like to do those sort of things. Just make sure you're not cutting from your savings, because you really have to have that money. And obviously you have to have a roof over your head, and you have to have utilities, so those things you just have to pay. Your cell phone's another thing that you can actually shop for plans and save money if you're really hurting financially. But that is just the basics of how I do a budget. It's really about tracking your spending and your income, so you know what's going to happen every month. That way you're not, taken a surprise if you wake up one day and look at your account and there's less money in there. You should know how much is in there, because it's all planned out by the month, every month, if we do this. And it only takes 5 minutes a month or something to just write it. Once you do this, you can actually make a spreadsheet and just print out each column every month and just make little adjustments based on the month. Every month has some extra expenses. You might spend more in December on Christmas gifts and those things, but you can leave space for that. Just make a blank template, print it out, print 12 out, and at the end of the year, every month, you can just pull out one and just fill out little numbers, and you'll be prepared. So I hope this was helpful to someone. I hope that you at least think a little bit about planning out your finances, because this is what's going to help get you ahead in life. It's going to keep you from, falling into a financial hole. And I'm glad you stuck around, so thank you for coming by, and I hope you have a beautiful day today. Bye.
Thank you.